Okay.
Come back
All
to
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to IIHM Career Studio. Today we've got two personalities. One joining in from Calcutta, CEO, Chairman, IIHM Hotel School, Dr. Bose. And the other joins from the other part of the world. He's in Maldives, General Manager, Taj Exotica Maldives, Mr. Samrat Datta. Initially, he was in Taj Bengal, Calcutta, and then moved to Taj Palace, New Delhi. And from there, he moved to Taj Exotica Maldives. Just the right place, ladies and gentlemen, for the quarantine. As we open this question and answer session, direct Dil Se, we talk about careers in hospitality and we talk about what a GM looks into when he goes for recruiting students. And for our first discussion, we go straight to Dr. Bose over to Calcutta. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, very warm welcome, Mr. Samrat Datta, on this show. It's IIHM Live, and we are live almost for 18 hours a day. And so it's such a pleasure to welcome you back to IIHM, although virtually this time. And of course, you are in Maldives, we all know, and we are going to have a nice session with you. So shall I ask? I'll start by asking you a little bit about your days in school, possibly when we go a little backward before your hotel management in Calcutta days in the school, and how you really thought that you will do hotel management, and then obviously your elevation into the several hierarchy in a Taj and in Taj Bengal, and then of course in the Taj, very famous Taj Palace, Delhi, and now as Maldives in the Taj Spa and Exotica. So a little bit of a story we'd like to hear from you. All our students will be super excited to listen the story behind.
Sure, sure. Firstly, Dr. Bose and Abdullah, warm greetings from beautiful Maldives, and thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to interact with you, and always a pleasure to share these stories and maybe some anecdotes which can some way or the other inspire or give some direction towards the students that you are building up for the future. So I'll go to answer your question, Dr. Bose. So my life in my pre-university, pre-hotel management life, the school life has been spread over various places of India, because my dad was with Steel Authority of India, and so we moved between port cities. He had to go on a transferable job. We have in fact practically lived within a port at one stage also in Paradip in Orissa. And we lived in Visakhapatnam. Dad was posted in Haldia. A part of my studies has happened in Calcutta, but most of it has happened in Visakhapatnam and Orissa and all that. So I have studied in various schools. We used to move from a different board to a different board. My final years of schooling was from KV Paradip, which was CBSE. What I would say as a positive, this particular life of traveling has become a destiny of my life. I have somehow, I love this whole thing about a change and adapting into new environments. This became, I think it is ingrained in me from my childhood days because of this transferable job of my dad. And so you get into different cultures, different people, and you stay in different places, adapt to their cuisines, adapt to their lifestyle, etc. And I think that has played a very major role in what I have finally become, I would say. It also has prompted me to learn a little bit about other cultures, and also prompted me to study beyond the school education, and of course coming from a background where my grandfather and others in the family have always inspired me to learn different languages. So while I never had Bengali as a curriculum in my subject, but I still studied a bit of Tagore. I did study some of these the literature. At the same time, I was studying English and Hindi, and I learned Oriya and Telugu. So yes, that bandwidth kind of started working from that point, and I consider my external studies beyond my school books has kind of made me what I am, or groomed a bit of my personality before I went into the college or the university. So thereafter, I started my physics honors course.
Oh,
But while I
physics
was doing
honors.
that, yes,
Amazing.
yeah, I was pretty good in academics, and although I did not get into the mainstream of medical or engineering, but I chose physics honors, and I was doing that. But midway through that, I think it's a friend's influence, that kind of made me think again that what exactly do I want to be, and I realized that there is this one streak in me which is about those days we used to use this word called dynamic. You say that there's something in life should be dynamic. There has to be a personality driven. There has to be something which is like excites you every day. You may
Correct.
want to just go back to work and deliver something new, interacting with people, etc., etc. Somehow my doing a pure science stream course was not translating into a career that would meet that kind of a mindset of mine. So there were obviously a set of what can I say, an expectation of more excitement out of life made me consider hotel management. Until then, I did not ever know that hotel management will be my career. A group of friends, we went and appeared for this entrance examination, got through it, and then only after getting through it did I make a decision that I would get into this stream. And yes, thereafter there was no looking back. I'm one of the few people who from my batch did not ever deviate from hoteliering as a profession. A lot of people have diversified in between,
Yes.
but I have continued with hoteliering, and I still believe that I'm cut out to do this job, and I think that's where I find the maximum excitement. And yeah, the rest is obviously history, and been through several hotels in my life. Again, as I said, travel has been a part and parcel of my life. I started with Taj Bengal, Kolkata, where I joined as a hotel operations management training way back in 1993. I did about 5 years over there. Then I quit the Taj at that time, and I moved out exploring. I went to Dubai and I joined the Le Méridien Mina Siahi. I worked there in the capacity of a bars manager in the beach properties, in the beach outlets, and then I moved out to the Fairmont Dubai. After 2.5 years, I joined Fairmont Dubai. I worked with the Fairmont for about 4.5 years, and we opened one of the award-winning restaurants called Spectrum on One, and
Oh,
which
yeah.
is which is still. I mean, it was quite a stir in those days. We were rated as the best restaurant of UAE in international cuisine by
Uh-huh.
What's On 4 years in a row, and the
Uh-huh.
fifth year I was not there. I don't know what they did after that. Just joking. So after that, I moved on to Shangri-La in Muscat. And in Shangri-La, I was managing the 6-star luxury wing, as they call it. I was given to open 9 outlets over there. And that was another phenomenal experience of pre-opening. And all the 9 outlets opened, beyond which I got a call back from Taj. And this was in 2007, and I could not resist that offer, because I was really wanting to come back to India. My roots was calling me, and Taj, as no matter how many other companies I've worked, but Taj has been the umbilical cord for me.
Mhm.
And coming back to the Taj with the Rambagh property, I came as a EAM food and beverage, and thereafter 2 years of great experience in Rambagh. And from there, I moved to Jai Mahal as my first GM posting. So yeah, and briefly, my GM movements have been Jai Mahal, Lusaka in Zambia, Chennai, Connemara, Taj Bengal, Kolkata, where I told you I started my career. I made
Yes.
a complete U-turn and went back there as the GM, and from there to Taj Palace, New Delhi, and finally to this beautiful wonderland called Maldives, the Taj Exotica Maldives.
See,
Absolutely. That sounds absolutely like a well guarded, I mean, well planned step. But I'm sure, like yesterday, I was talking with Kunal Kapoor, Chef Kunal,
Yes.
and he also said that he came to hospitality by a friend. So it seems that the friends have got a lot of influence. Huh? He was doing something like commerce in a college, and one of his friends said, "Let's do some thing in hotel management." So he left and he joined PUSA. So it seems that a lot of hoteliers have got similar kind of streak.
Yeah, so Dr. Bose, in 1989, we didn't have the internet. There was no Google Baba. All
Yes.
right.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever information was there was amongst you, in form of your teachers giving you some advice, your family members giving you advice, and so the bandwidth of exposure was limited to whoever you are exposed to, and
Right.
friends definitely played a very very important role because you were trying to plan a career, and of course I must also say in those days the whole arena open in front of you in terms of careers was very limited. And coming from, as I said, the academic background that we come from, families where we
Mhm.
can only, and of course service background families, we will always think of, I mean, either you'll be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, journalist. These are the things which they thought of me, that I will be probably ending up. And I tended to believe that that's all I can do, I think. Uh, but it is the friends circle that does have influence. And I would say that in 1989, deciding to move out of this mainstream and joining a hotel was quite a rebellious decision. Those days, I mean,
Oh
in Calcutta,
yes.
where I was,
Oh
there was
yes.
probably Calcutta had only two hotels, which is
Yes.
of a five-star deluxe category, and then we
Absolutely.
had the HHI and Park and other hotels.
Yes.
But in all, there would be about 5, 6 hotels which you can talk about.
So, uh, when did you meet your beautiful wife first time, Jennifer?
So Taj again. Yeah. So I met her because she's also a hospitality professional.
Yes.
She started her career. So she was like when I was HOMT, then she had just come for training in the Taj Bengal. So that's where we kind of connected and met. And later on, once she passed out of her institute, she came back and joined Taj as well. She started her career with Hyatt Regency Delhi, but then she moved on to Taj Bengal, and that's where we worked together for a little longer, and yeah, we tied the knot, and since then we have been moving around together.
Absolutely. You are such a fantastic family, especially with the kids, two kids, Oro, right? Oro, uh,
Auric and Aura.
Ori and Ora.
Okay.
Lovely, lovely names as well.
Yeah.
So, and right now they are in Toronto, I believe.
Yes. So in the outskirts of Toronto, in a city called Mississauga, in Ontario. So
Love.
that's where they are. Primarily for my kids' education, we chose to. We have some family there also. My son is
Right.
going to university this year, and with God's blessing, I think he's got a university of his choice. So he moves on to
Fantastic.
university. Daughter is in class
Wow.
7,
Very good.
and yeah, so we are focusing on their studies, etc., in that region, and
Fantastic.
I'm managing it from here.
So if I may ask you, I mean, obviously you almost spend your lifetime as of now in hospitality. Like hospitality is your DNA.
Yes.
So what's the kind of hospitality you exude when if you ask yourself, Samrat Datta, what's the hospitality Samrat Datta is known for? Because we know that we're all different creatures of God. We have got our own way of our own way of hospitality, our own way of execution of hospitality, as we're discussing. So could you just tell a little bit about your feeling or your way of what hospitality means to you?
So for me, hospitality primarily means people orientation. And I think the biggest thing that I enjoy in this profession is being with people. It may sound very cliched, but it is actually the truth. I've realized it with my life. I've realized it with my progression. I've realized it with everything that I've achieved, or whatever has got me certain accolades in life has always been because of the way we formed teams, the way we set targets, and the way we went gunning towards achieving those targets. And it has always been achieved like a very very strong team play. So that is about the people that I work with, and or the teams that I run or I have been a part of. And at the same time, it is also about people on the other side who are your bread and butter. They are your guests,
Right.
and we don't call them customers. They are our guests. So to actually truly believe that they are your guests, and to actually provide the service where in India we say Atithi Devo Bhava, is the we have actually imbibed that in the true terms. I love the concept. I love the concept that every guest is God, and the fact that we can befriend them also. It's a God you can befriend. It's a God you can take on your side, because He will be your biggest ambassador once He is gone off your property. And I think I've been blessed to have a whole lot of such guests who have had great experiences in the hotel with our personal interventions, and they have become friends forever, and they keep coming back. And I think, for example, in difficult times also, these are the people who will support you, and they will keep coming back to you and actually help building the brand, which is a brand based on trust.
Right.
So I think that's what I enjoy the most, Dr. Bose. People.
That's fantastic, and that's coming directly from a heart. Direct, they'll say, as we say, Samrat Datta from Taj, Exotica, and Spa Maldives. Samrat, I mean, we all have somebody in life whom we look up to. Sometime mentor, sometime not mentor, but like we idolize or follow, or just feel like we want to be like him, something like that. So any character like that in your life who influenced you directly or indirectly in
Yeah.
hospitality,
Uh,
in your career, you look up to him, you know?
Many actually, yes.
Yeah.
You as you work, because hospitality is also a profession where you work with, as I said the word earlier, dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
You come across a lot of people with a lot of dynamism, a lot of charisma. But beyond that, I think it's a lot of values that our company stands for is in Taj, which actually inspires me to, be a part of this company and continue to give in my best. So if you talk about inspiration, right now, if I may say, the name that will come first to my mind
Yeah, please.
is basically the Mr. Tata. I think I look up to him and idolize him big time, because honestly, when I look at the entire world and its businesses, I think there are few companies that are run the way the Tatas are run. And I mean, lesser said, I think it's
Absolutely.
better known to everyone what Tata stands for, and I think it's also the ethos and the values of a person, which is coming through the legacy, and to believe that community is the sole purpose of being in business. That kind of a mindset inspires me thoroughly, and also something that we can reflect in our attributes on a day-to-day basis is something that I try. Okay, so that is one person or other, a family. I mean, it starts from JRD and
Yes.
to Mr. Tata right now. I have huge admiration for them. And at the same time, when you have been working, there are people who have inspired me at phases at various parts of my life. I remember, like, now that you're asking, I was not prepared for this question, but I may not be able to do justice to everyone. But I can say, when I started my career, our first GM was Miss Shireen Batliwala,
Oh, yes. Oh,
and she's and whoever has worked with her, actually, we carry a whole lot of remembrances of how a general manager should come across, what kind of a stature that particular position is, and how is one supposed to conduct herself or himself in that particular role. It's something that I can barely think I can compare her with anyone, or maybe we have got this huge hero worship in our head. So because she was our first general manager, and I think for great attributes that she possesses, I idolize her, and I'm in touch with her also. Sometimes she would just a word of advice or guidance is always very, very nice to hear from her. Uh,
absolutely, Samrat. That is fantastic. So, if we can know a little bit about this concept of Tajness, which is in the heart of Taj hospitality business. The other day, Mr. Chatwal was telling in our International Hospitality Day webinar, Taj is now trust, T for trust, A for awareness, and J for joy. So he put it very, very nicely, very, very easy to understand. So if you can tell us a little bit to our viewers about this entire concept of Tajness and what Tajness stands for.
Sure, sure. Since you mentioned Mr. Chatwal, I must also say that he's one of the people, as of now, because now that I know him, he's our managing director since the time he has joined us. He's another great person who inspires me thoroughly for the
Absolutely.
holistic view that he has towards the business and his people orientation as well. There are a whole lot of things that we learn from him on a everyday basis. So that's really great. I'm glad you mentioned him. Because he's always one of the inspirations that drive us. As far as Tajness is concerned, like you already touched upon the trust, awareness, joy being the three pillars of our of our values. And what in an operational perspective, when we talk about Tajness, it's sometimes simply defined as feel it with your eyes closed. So, I said this somewhere earlier that hotels have a character. Hotels are living beings. All right. And when you walk into a place, you always have a hotel which either gives you a very, very positive aura, or you may not just feel anything. All right. So you will actually feel it whenever you walk into some hotel. And for Tajness, in my way of defining it is, when I walk into that space, I feel that I am in that zone where I can close my eyes and know that I am here. It's the fragrance, it's the warmth of the people around me. I may not be able to hold it and show it to you, but I can feel the warmth through the smile of the person who greets me. In India, it will be a touch of the local flavor, a little bit of the welcoming experience. It comes from the flavors of the food, how we present the food on the table, how a one-on-one conversation is carried out, where nothing is parrot-read, yet the aim of the conversation is pretty much the same everywhere you go. It is about the service from the heart, wanting to help you with genuine care. And I think that's what Tajness is. It's difficult to define in substantiative, quantitative terms. It is actually a very, very abstract term. But it is absolutely true. I'll tell you what, I must say this about Tajness, because my guests tell me that when they come back or wherever they go, whichever other places they try, they always come and say, Taj is Taj. The fact that when they say Taj is Taj, it means that he's talking about Tajness.
Yes,
absolutely. Wow, Taj. That's all I can say. And I can tell you that one of my favorite hotels, of course, being from Calcutta, it has to be Taj Bengal. And obviously, with no offense to all my friends who are the managers, Taj Bengal always have that flowers, that aroma, that openness, that lights coming from atrium, that paintings on the wall and the terracottas. If you add on everything and the people,
yes,
it just gives you a very, very strong feeling, as you said, very positive feeling.
That's right.
If you like to be there, you love to be there.
So as you walk into the lobby, I think the experience just begins, and it's like, it's so grand, it's so gorgeous. Yes, it is one of our finest hotels, I would say. And again, as you rightly mentioned, it is also the people who finally make that difference. And
Mr. Datta, there's so many students and who are listening to this possibly, who want to make this Tajness as a part of their lives. So they will apply, and at some point in time they will come and you will be interviewing them. So as a general manager, when you sit and interview somebody, for a management trainee level, what is it that you're looking for to recruit, or what are the qualities that you're looking into?
So to break it down, I think it starts from the time the person actually is visible to you from that door when he or she walks in.
Right.
That gate from the door to the chair tells you the confidence level. It tells you the positive energy that he or she is bringing in, and so the confidence and the positive energy, that's what you see. You see the grooming of the person. It is very important in hospitality to be well groomed, well turned out, and your tastes. What exactly do you wear? How do you wear it? Everything. It's important because at the end of the day, the people in the hospitality segment will become a part of the bigger picture. And a five-star hotel business is about having things in the right order. So you have to be forming a part of the bigger picture. So therefore, you better be well turned out. It's not about looking beautiful or handsome or something. It's not that. It's about being in the right shape. It's in being in the right kind of thing. Your hair should be rightly cut. You should be well shaven if you're a man. If you're a girl, you have to have your hair beautifully done up. And minimalistic in terms of colors, in terms of colors that you will no flashy colors is what we always prefer. And the rest is confidence. Thereafter, once you start conversing with a person, what I normally look at is the confidence level and the level of genuineness the person is coming across. You know, if they are parrot read for any questions, you know, like, what have you done in your life? And they kind of start rattling it out as if it's like a parrot read book. That's not what we look at. We want to see the spontaneity and the individuality coming
Right.
out of a person's conversation, the readiness of communication to be able to you know, put the sentences together without too much of thought going behind it. So communication skills, I would say, the confidence levels, the positive attitude, you know, towards things like how am I looking at, you know, maybe flexible timings or a little bit of a hard-working situation when it comes to a busy hotel, you know, managing, etc. How does
Right.
one look at it? How does one view it? How do they respond to people-related you know, attributes? You know, how do they like mixing with people? How do they interact with people? What are their hobbies? You know, some hobbies will also indicate that, you know, what are they finally wanting to do? You know, people who like who have versatile interests, I would say, will be of more valuable to this. And not necessarily that there is any typecast. I would never look at any typecast. There is going to be all sorts of people with various talents that we need. So it's also sometimes what you are looking for at that point of time. I mean, you need somebody with analytical skills, then you might hire that person. At some time, you might be looking at more of operational skills and more people orientation. You will hire that kind of person. So every attribute is good. It's just that how the person presents himself, that comes across communication skill becomes very important. Level of respect and dignity, and of course politeness of conversation, that comes across also as a very positive thing.
So while your transferable skills are important, but what comes from your definition of how you take is really the people skill or the social skill, which are equally important, right? I mean,
So
whether we are, like we're saying, communication skill or confidence, or how you mentioned politeness, right? So I think the social skills are as important as the transferable skills.
in fact, it's more important because
Yeah.
when we are going to a college to hire or an institute to get, like they would be freshers for us, right? I mean, they've just come out of an institute. They've still not seen I mean, they've probably done a industrial exposure, but they have not
Right.
really stayed through it. So they have not lived this life. So they are freshers for us. And at a fresher level, I think we are looking much more towards the attitude than just skills. Skills is important, of course, because if you have spent 3 years in a college, you're expected to know some basic skills of, you know, how to cut a fillet of a fish, or maybe, you know, how to build at least a few cocktails, and you know, knowing how to manage some events and basic stuff, you know, where you're not kind of absolute pressure. But saying that attitude, anything related to behavioral skills and all that is going to be having an edge over anything else.
Absolutely.
Super. I think it was absolute phenomenal to touch base with you all the way from here to Maldives and listen to you heart to heart about what, you know, is Tajness all about. What is Mr. Samrat Datta? Now we know. And absolutely at the end, we also got to know, you know, right from a general manager's thought process as to what he's looking for when he's, you know, on the other side of the table checking out on the student. And just to reiterate this fact, that out of all the conversation, you know, all the emphasis that you gave is on personality, is on confidence, is on, you know, how well spoken you are, how soft spoken you are, which means that, of course, talent and knowledge is important, but what's also important is how well we, you know, make a package out of ourselves and not just concentrate only on books, because actually hospitality is all about exposure and practicality rather than just books and reading.
So before we go, Abdullah, I would like to always ask him, because he has been a great supporter of us, Taj Group as a whole, actually, especially during the Young Chef Olympiad. For the last so many years, been a big supporter. So I would like to thank Mr. Samrat Datta and the entire Taj team for being such a great supporter and a friend of the Young Chef Olympiad and IIHM. So thanks for being with us and supporting us whenever we need. And as a last parting question, what's your take on IIHM education?
So IIHM, I think it's very inspiring as what you're building it up, and all of you all with Dr. Bose's vision, Abdullah, with your great hard work. I have seen you guys closely when I was posted in Calcutta, particularly, and what I first of all feel very excited about is when I see you all coming up with these great concepts. Like Young Chef Olympiad is one of the best examples. I don't think anywhere else in the world someone is doing this kind of an activity. And it's great for the exposure of your students who are studying, and at the same time they are learning what they have to do in the future in terms of, let's say, an event management or execution of grand dinners, lunches, banquets, shows, and all that. So I think that is something that I really highly appreciate. And the growth story, because when I started my career, IHM was in its nascent phases, and thereafter now how you have grown and come up is also a great story to follow. And I feel, I mean, in the course of the last few years, I've come across several of IIHM pass outs who have, one of them was my F&B, director of F&B in Taj Bengal, Calcutta, was actually your ex-student. And similarly, some great boys and girls who were, managers and restaurant managers, front office managers, duty managers who have worked with me. They are some fabulous, great people actually, and I think it all comes from the base, which is strong. And besides that, what I see as a common thread in the boys and girls that we get for our training, and also when we go and hire, is that they come with a very good set of confidence. The confidence levels are high. That's the common thread, I would say, and also they are. As I think you have this saying that don't be shy.
Yes.
Say hi.
And say hi. Yeah. So that level of confidence is depicted, and that definitely, as we just discussed, it helps in getting the person into the game easier than others.
Thank you so much, Samrat. That has been, that would really please all our students on the Facebook Live and who will be following this. They will really be happy that
Thank you.
we are trying to make them is actually paying off. And you as a general manager of Taj in Maldives is appreciating that. So thank you very much for appreciating our efforts.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Absolutely. It's and a great honor that you invited me for this, and always nice to have this heart-to-heart chat. I wish you good luck, and all your students best of luck with their careers, and they should try and grasp the most out of this beautiful institute that you've created for them.
Thank you so much, and you take care, and we'll be in touch again. Last words, Abdullah, before we say.
Yes, one. I do see a lovely book kept behind you, and I know you read a lot. So, what book is that?
Oh, so this is the book. It is the book I'm reading.
Okay.
Once again,
Okay,
so I told you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is about Jamshedji, and it's
by
one of the very beautifully written books. It's a good chronicle of his.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, I read this book.
Yeah, so it's written by Frank Harris actually, but it's about Jamshedji Tata and our founder, and
Fantastic.
the whole chronicle of his life, and so you get a lot of learning from there.
They are the real legends. They
Yes.
are the guys actually we are inspired by. Thanks, Samrat, for spending time with us.
Pleasure,
Thank
absolutely.
you, and see you soon. Take care. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, and wish you all the very best as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining in.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.